Hi everybody, this is Scott Bowman. I'm the creator behind ideaBRICKworks. This is one of my avatars. There's more information if you would like to zoom in on that, but also you can go to my website. This video is going to be, you've bought or are considering buying 19005. That's my Micro Saturn V. I call it the improved version. Because this is my second iteration. And I'm also going to show you an alternate build method. I think the instructions that you download will give you a good idea of how to do it conventionally. But there's another way that I'm going to show you that I think can also help it. A couple of hints. One hint is this is not in the kit. These are the parts that are in the kit. But if you want to know how long an axle is, lay it on a plate, and then you can count the number of studs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 12. So that is a 12L, 12 long axle. So then as the instructions, then you'll see which length they are based on where they go in the model. In this case, we actually have 4 axles that are all of a different length. So that's just a hint, excuse me, so that you can find the right one. So you've got your instructions, and the first step is to start to build the first stage, the very first part of the launch. You use the Technic round 2x2 round brick with 2 plates underneath it. So again, the 2 would go underneath. If you don't get them underneath, then you will have some issues as we move forward in the directions. The next step is to actually install the, in this case, the 10 long. So again, put it on your measure. Put the 10 long axle in, and then 2 of the cylinder halves. And this is actually why I thought I'd just fill you in a little bit. This is why I had to redesign the kit. So original kit used a 5-high version of the half cylinder, but Lego has only just restarted making this, and so these turned into getting very, very difficult to get. Whereas even though Lego is not making the 4-high anymore, there are a lot more new ones available, and so I was able to make that kit. Ironically, what makes it work is I still need a 5-high, is the round version, or the round plug that goes in at this point. And it's really making the same as the 5-high from the original kit. Ironically, I'm now finding these harder to get, so I hope I don't have to do another redesign, but this has been a pretty popular kit. So put the axle in place, put that in. This is the first place that we put stickers on, and I use a little appliance just to allow you to kind of hold it, but if you put it even in a book, open up a book and and set it down in the spine of a book, that's another good way to do it. So get the line of the 2 halves of the cylinder so that it's up. And in this case, you are getting the lowest sticker. These go in order up the rocket. So this is the first half of stage 1. And where we want to do is get it as high, and that's why there's a little bit of ability to restick these if you do it quickly and gently. But these stickers are a little light, and so you want to, instead of stretching them around, you'll stretch them out. They're not quite as thick, maybe just a couple mils less than a typical Lego kit. And this is the way you want to align it. So it's over the hole, because that's where the fins will attach later. And then just let it lay down. And you'll get a nice fit. Turn it over. Do the same thing on the other side. Again, just let it lay down. And you put your first stickers on. This is where I'm going to deviate from the instructions, because there's I think it's a little easier to put all the stickers on and then put the fins on. When I originally did it, I did it with the fins first. It's not by any means harder to do. I just think this is a little more direct. So I am actually going to move from this particular point to getting the first stickers on. Now, one thing we do need to do, going back one, is we do need to put on the base, and it requires 2 jumpers on each side. It goes on the bottom then. Then, because it has to do with all the other connections, take one of the thrusters, and this is actually step 8 in your instructions. Take the black 4 long. It then goes in the top and down to the bottom, and you'll see about that much is remaining. Then it would go in the bottom, and now you've got that axle in there. It's going to press it up. That will give you the proper orientation of them all the way up. So just leaving that one on in the center, this gives everything the right spacing as you go up. So we'll continue up. I like to alternate the seams, and so I put it this way. So you see that the seam is on a alternating basis. We need now a connector. And then at this point, the 12 long. I tend to put this back down so that you can press it in. Put the other side on. Now around. Then again, I alternate the seams, so you can see where the seams are alternated. So every time you're pressing down, you are making the stack more compatible. By the way, that's stage 1. Stage 1 ends at that second joint. Put another joiner. Alternate the seams. Now the 8 long. Other half. And now the final on the top. And this would get you up to step 13. Now with the top transition, so this is now the end of stage 2. And so now we're going to the transition then to stage 3. So there's a white 2x2 round that goes on the top of that transition. And then the transition, and again, holding it there allows it to go through. The nice thing about this design is by having the axle, it orients that transition in the right place. So now we've skipped over a couple of the other parts because that's the alternate build part of this. Is now I'm going to put the rest of the stickers on the body. And again, you could use a book, you could use, if you have a few slopes around, you can do that as well. So the way I do these on the sides is I find the seam and go to the next level up. And again, you don't want to stretch them around, but I line them up based on that seam, give it maybe a millimeter or so. There's a nice border. And there I'll show you that I've got it stuck, aligned along the seam, kind of flush with the top or the bottom, giving it about a millimeter, and then just let it lay across, and it will be on that other side. So that gives you a good sticker placement and makes it easier to put on. As you might imagine, I've done a few of these. I think as I do the rest of these, one of the things I think that children have a little problem with is they tend to want to stick it around. They want it to kind of pull it around. And what I've really found is the less force you use, get it placed correctly first. And if you don't like the way it sticks, just gently pull it back up, and it does not stretch very much. And so it can give you that little extra ability to get it in the right place. So there you've got all the stickers then on the body of the rocket, ready to then do the transition. Now the transition is probably the trickiest. I like to show kids that there's a lot of math involved in making something that's flat that then goes onto a cone. So the way I've learned to do this, and this is another reason why it's kind of nice to have this. Let me get a little closer to is I look for the seam, and then I look to try and get this to line up as low as possible. There's still a little bit of tolerance on this, but to be straight up. And remember, I keep talking about not pulling on them. This is one of the exceptions. As you start to, and I can tell I'm a little off already. As you start to pull it around, if it starts creeping up on that cylinder, that means you were a little off in that placement. And this is where the stretchability of the sticker actually helps. You can see I got a little fold in it, but frankly, not bad enough to worry about it. So something I like to point out about this is that as you look at all the other markings on the Saturn V, everything's symmetric. Everything is symmetric. Well, it turns out the reason this is non-symmetric is as the rocket is launching, it rotates, and the cameras from the ground can use this so they know exactly what attitude in what rotation the rocket is. So this was really to aid them in that that task. Of course, now this is going to bug me, and so I am going to correct it. So again, maybe use your fingernail. In this case, I don't need to take it very far to get that straightened out. And I marked it a little bit because of the stretching. Okay, that's better. So at this point, I'm actually going to go back and do the previous step with the fins. So this is going back to step 6. And with step 6, the important thing is to make sure that the 1x1s get to where they're supposed to be. So the start is the angle piece. You then put the jumper, or the snot brick, studs knot on top. That would go there. On top of that goes one of the 1x's, the cheese wedge, cheese slope. And then to make the fin, now, one of the reasons I do not like 1x1s as a designer and a kit builder, because they rotate. I don't really have control over them. Anything that's a 1x2, they go in, they go where they're supposed to go. So one of the reasons I do it this way is this. You can press down on a hard surface like this cutting mask and get it nice and flat. Now, because I'm doing the Julia Child, these were in the oven, and so now we are going to put them into the holes of the Technic round, line them up. Now in this case, because we've got this down there, you'll have to loosen it just a little bit or take off one. What we want to do is make sure that the axles all stay in the same place. Again, you can set it down just enough to make sure that your fins are straight. Put the bottom pack on. And then make 2 more of these with the 2x2s and the jumpers. And what you'll notice is these lock in the fins. So it makes it the fins much more stable. They don't rotate and they won't fall off as much. So there, by finishing that, we've actually caught up with step 7. So now we are going to finish off, go back to step 16. So with step 16, we are going to use the 2x2 round that has fins. Again, as you push down on it, have this down flush at the bottom. Then there are 2 of the 2x2 round white, 2 of the black. So we're trying to escape. Then put that last axle in. Press it down till it hits those other axles. Then the transition, which this is the 3rd stage, and this transition is where the lunar module was stored during launch, and then they'd take the clamshells would come off, and the command module would turn around, go get it, and dock with it, and take it then to the moon. Then we put the service module, the command module, and then the escape tower. And normally this one, I do it a little different in that I like it so that it's flush. That gives you a good, nice connection to the top. And now with that axle all the way up through, this is much more playable. It doesn't move around nearly as much. So then now we put the flame on that center one, build the other 4. Now, if you want to get really picky, you'll line them all up the way they would if they were locked in. I'm one of those people that likes them all to be the right way. As if you could press this down on a plate. That's kind of the way I do it. And there you have it. Now you've built your Micro Saturn V. If you would like to, if I still have any available, I also have this fun base. It is an extra, and that fun base can then commemorate the 50th anniversary. And you will find that on my Etsy page as well. So thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoy the kit. If you are missing any parts, please contact me. I make things right for people, and we'll hopefully, if you enjoyed watching this, please like the video, and I look forward to you enjoying future kits. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate a like. To learn more about what ideaBRICKworks does, make sure and subscribe to this channel.